So this is part 2 of question and answer of Sherot Shuvot Or Letzion. LaHaShem, we try to complete this question. If a goy that is supervised by a Jew, or a machine, a computer supervised by a Jew, if that will be sufficient enough to do a mitzvot that require lishma. So we said, according to Chazon Ish, the following is learned. Says the Baal HaMechaber, Rabbi Tzion Abu Shaul. We see the refinery of Chazon Ish of a few certain rules. The following: one thing we learn, that an individual could be considered as a continuation of a previous person. Additional, and the first person has the kavanah that he's doing it for Hashem or some certain mitzvah, and that will be enough. Even though he's supervising a goy or he's supervising a machine, they're doing all the actual job, but a Jew is not. Gam chidesh, that's number 2. And then another rule, shapirush shel adata denavshe ke'avid, this fact that the person does something because of his own desires, ve'efshar lo lechaven lishma, and haynu ke'avid haynu be'avur she'eino bar mitzvah. Even it works even in the case where he's not a person who is included in this mitzvah. And the goy cannot have such intentions. I'm doing it for the purpose of so that he could fulfill this mitzvah with it, let's say sit or something. Even though says Chazon Ish, it will be enough because the original, the supervisor taught process and the beginning process will be enough. That was the חידוש of Chazon Ish. ולכאורה יש להביא ראיה לדבריו ממה שכתב שהאדם יכול לכוון לשמה אף כשאין הוא עצמו עושה את הפעולה. Now, I'm going to give you proof, says Or Letzion, that a person could have kavanah, that an item is being done for the purpose of, sole purpose of a mitzvah, even though he himself is not doing it. Midivrei HaRashba. We could learn it, what Rashba teaches us. Bechilchot lebasech chulin. Over there, Rashba in Masech Chulin, page 12, Yud Bet, Amud Bet, second side. The Ita b'Mishnah, it says like this in the Mishnah, the Kulan sheshachatu ve'acharav ro'in otan. Over there, they was discussing the inyan of that everybody followed the original person who I guess did the shchita, shchitotan keshira. As long as they all did, I guess for the LaHaShem over there, for the certain something certain that a person did, and the original person had a kavanah, but that was enough. That was sufficing for everybody else. We come by Gemara, Daf Yud Bet Amud Bet. Over there it says on the page in Gemara, 12th page, Man Tana de lo ba'in and kavanah b'shchita. Who is the one who holds? Who is the author? Who is the author of a Mishnah who holds that you don't need a certain thought or kavanah during shchita? Rabbi Natan, as we learn over there, it's Rabbi Natan. That can. Umashma del Rabbanan de ba'u kavanah b'shchita. So, but we see from here that the Rabbanan do require a kavanah during the slaughtering. En mo'ilah shchitat afargav da'acharin ro'in otan mishum deleika kavanah lishma. Okay, so he says en mo'ilah shchita. Over here, in that case, the shchita would not be considered according to Rabbanan, that it's not that the leika kavanah lishma, because they don't have a kavanah for the purpose of the mitzvah. Vikshu sham b'tosfot begitin, and the Tosfot brings the question the man over there on that page. Also begitin, page 23, Amud Aleph, the first side. Tanan hakor kesherin lechtov et haget. The Mishnah says over there, everyone is fit to write a get. Va'afilu cheresh shoteh vekatan. Even cheresh, a deaf, a mute, or even a small shoteh, even a imbecile, and also even a child. Umoki la begimara, and they answer the Gemara. Dimaire kishigadol omed al gaban. The whole thing, why they're allowed to everybody to write a get as long as there's an adult supervising. The imlo have lishma. But there's no adult supervising, it's not going to be lishma. Mashma, deim gadol omed al gabe shaper have lishma. So we see from here that even get writing would be enough if an adult is supervising it and doing it lishma. But yetzu the beginning, ma'iri kishgadol omed al gabo melamdo la'asot lishma. As long as the adult is supervising and teaching and guiding people to do it lishma, those people who are the katan or a shoteh, even a cheresh, that's going to help. Aval becholin gabe shchita ma'iri kshero'in otan shelo kirkilu. When the shchita is going to be fine, as long as there was nobody wait sideways, everything was straight. Aval en melamdin otan la'asot lishma, lachen eno mo'il lerabanan. So Rabbanan say that you cannot do shchita without lishma, and you cannot teach them to do it lishma, and therefore it's not. But Rabbanan, they didn't allow the shchita to be performed by individuals who don't know how to do lishma, right? The shchita of, I guess, the korban has to be done lishma, and if it's not good, and we don't teach others to do it lishma. But over here, Gabe Gittin, in reference to writing a get, an individual who is supervising could tell the writer, even though he's a cheresh, somebody who's mute, or shoteh, or this imbecile, or a child, that will be kasher as long as the supervisor is of a mindset. Aval Rashba tiretz, the Rashba explains over them, degabe shchita ma'iri shacharon ro'in otan, aval en mechavnin. No, the way he says the problem with shchita was the people are seeing it, not necessarily they have a right thought. Therefore, Rabbanan say it's not going to help for one person having kavanah and everybody just follows. It doesn't work over there. Over there, by writing a get, an old adult is supervising, and he's telling him, "This is what we're writing it. You're writing it for the purpose of Reuven divorcing Leah." That's going to be enough because there's a supervisor who pronounces the purpose of writing this get. Mashmad midvarav. שהכוונה שמכוון זה לשמה מעני אב למעשיו של אדם אחר. So we see from here the fact that an adult who is supervising and he is proclaiming that the get written for that purpose, it's going to be enough even though the writer is not having that process. This is you see from the words of Chazon Ish. וגדולה מזו, and more than that, לדעת החזון איש בעניין שישראל יצווה את הגוי מתחילה לשמה. And according to Chazon Ish, even more, where a Jew supervises or commands a goy to do something for the purpose of a mitzvah, it's going to be enough, according to Rashba's learning. Over there, you don't have to command a goy or a child to tell him to do it lishma. Just by being mere there and just saying, we're doing it lishma. So the goy doesn't care what he's doing it. The goy is doing his job. But the practice that there's a Jew standing, according to Rashba even, that he's supervising and he's saying, just by him being there and proclaiming, we're doing this lishma, it's enough. So that's going to be like a Jew standing by a computer. If you're telling a computer, you're starting a computer work, and the computer is going to be weaving you the tzitziyot, or something, so it's like the computer is doing for you the job. Aval al kol panim divrei Rashba enem le'alacha. However, the laws of the words of Rashba are not halacha. The gitin pulukta hi ben Rav Huna le Rav Yochanan. Because in the end, the get rules about get writing is a machloket between Rav Huna and Rav Yochanan. Del Rav Huna mahanik shigadolo med al gaba afilo betor get. By Rabbi Huna, he says it's going to be good because as long as the adult is supervising. Or the other Rabbi Yochanan eno moil rag gabet tofes. No, Rabbi Yochanan says that's not what the Gemara meant. Over there, it's talking about the real, the tfisa of the get. I guess the writing, I guess, the end result of the get. אבל גבי טורף אין מועיל אפילו גדול עומד על גביו. Right? I guess Toref, I guess maybe it's pre-designed get-in. You just add later on the names. So I guess when the addition, the finalization of the get will be good according to Rabbi Yochanan, not just what's his name. אגב, ופסקו הריב והרמב"ם והשולחן ערוך כרבי יוחנן, שאין מועיל גדול עומד על גבו בטורף. וכל מה שכתוב ברשב"א, היינו לרב הונא, ולא אליבא דהלכתא. So Rashba followed Rabbi Yehuna, and it's not, unfortunately, it's not the halacha, and that's going to be not substantial enough for us. Can we rule in such a matter? Can we say it that a computer will be enough to make for me tzitzit? Let's continue. Let's see weiter what Rabbi Tzionah Bashaul is going to tell us. Halacha, so he's continuing, ot hei, v'ra'iti lehagartzav, Frank, בספרו מקרי קודש. I saw in a book in the מקרי קודש, in הלכות פסח, הלכה ב' סעיף ג', אוקיי? או חלק ב' סעיף ג', שכתב דמועיל לאפות מצוות מצות ממכונה ולכוון לשמה. So Rabbi Frank says you're allowed to bake matzot in a machine and have in mind to do it lishma. And the reason why he said it's allowed, because it's long language in the Masechta Chagiga, chapter page 20th, first side, says like this: En adam mishamer ma shebiyad chavero, a person ומה שנקטע מה שביד חברו ולא נקטע מה שאינו בידו. ומשמע דווקא ביד חברו אין אדם משמר, בעבור שחברו בן דת ויש לו מחשבה אחרת. אבל מכונה שאינה בדת, יועיל שימור של זה על פי שאינו בידו, ושפר נתפסת הכוונה לשמה הארץ, לסבר לב החזון איש בחדה במכונה, upale gale bechada begoy. So like this. So over there, Rabbi Frank says that he's going to end up arguing with Chazon Ish in the end, reference to a goy, meaning when there is an individual involved, we don't know what's inside the individual's mind. So therefore, Rabbi Frank says here the Gemara, the Mashma, we don't. It's not going to help that you have a kavanah and for the goy to take over his mind. That's not going to help because a goy has his own mind. But machine has not its own mind. So since the machine does not have its own mind, your kavanah as a supervisor, by beginning, you're the one who's doing all the action. Just because the machine is doing the combination according to your desire, it doesn't mean you're losing your sovereignty. You're the sovereign. Over there, when another person is involved, you don't have the sovereignty on his mind. Every person has sovereignty on his own mind. So that it doesn't help with Chazon Ish. Says Rav Tzionah Bashaul, נראה שאין להוכיח כן. Says, I don't see that's to be the proof for the matzah. Right? That's the hatam ma'iri gabe tum'ah. Over there in the Masechta Chagiga, it's discussing specifically scenario of impurity. ובהה אפשר שיועיל שימור לדבר הנמצא לידו אף על פי שאינו בידו, כיוון דשמירה כזו אינו מעשה. Over there, the carefulness. What are you observing? You want to make sure it's not become tameh. So it's in another person's possession. You could still observe it. There is no actual deed that is performed. אבל גבי מצה, but in reference to matzah, דבעין את שימור שיהיה לשמה. The fact is that when you're coming to be the storage and you're bringing the grain in there, the seed, the sieving, the collecting, the sheaves, separating, all this has to be done specifically for the purpose of mitzvah matzah. That you're going to do the mitzvah matzah with those grains. It has to be going into actual deed of lishma, and everything has to be lo yoyil b'kahai gamna. It's not going to help that by another person handling the matzah. V'adraba ifcha mistabra, even the opposite. Da'alidei hagoy mehani u'mechona lo mehani. He would say that I guess that a goy, it will help more if the goy is handling the grain, because the goy knows he's doing it for the mitzvah of matzah. You want to make matzot out of it, and therefore he's going to be careful to fulfill your desire, because that's your wish. That's what you're paying him for. But the machine does not have this thought process. So the machine is not, you cannot say, but you're going to say, well, the machine is not going to have water in it. I don't know. Whatever the reason is, the machine does not have that aspect of having a thought that it's for the purpose of matzah, because it doesn't have a thought process. אף על פי סברת החזון איש, והרשב"א נראה לאל, כיוון שהגוי יכול לכוון אל המצה, אבל מכונה שאינה יכולה לכוון אל המצה, אלא לא תועיל. Therefore, it says that this argument, that the watching of the matzah, he says actually it would go like Chazon Ish, by the goy would be better, and not by the machine, because of the thought process. The goy could still have that the sole purpose of him working right now is for a Jew to eat matzah, and therefore he wants to get paid. He wants to get paid. To make sure he gets paid, he's going to make sure that the matzah is not ruined in any way. Omnan, this is the sixth ot. Omnam aminchat achinuch katav lehedya. The minchas chinuch, it goes in mitzvah number yud, mitzvah number 10. דאין מועיל לשמה של אדם זה למעשיו של אדם אחר. He writes with it clearly. Chinuch is a big Baal Mefaresh. He explains Rambam and mitzvot and everything. And Minchas Chinuch explains that no, that where is he saying that? Mitzvah Dav Chav Amud Dal Beketa Batchil V'hine Mikol. So I guess over there where he starts V'hine Mikol, when he explains the mitzvah of matzot over there, eating matzah. דאין מועיל לשמה של אדם זה למעשיו של אדם אחר. He says clearly that your thought process, that I want that person to fulfill, I'm supervising that person to do something לשמה, does not help. דאיקשה שם, מדוע גבי מצה לא יועיל שהגוי יאפה? He says, how come it doesn't help? Clearly, a goy baking matzot, it doesn't work. והישראל יעמוד על גבוי ויכוון לשמה, even though a Jew is supervising it. והתורה לא צריכה שהקצירה או הלישו או האפייה תהיה לשמה. However, we have to know the Torah did not command the cutting and the sheaving and all the things that pertaining before coming to the process of making a dough. All those things are not obligating according to Torah לשמה. אלא דבעינן לשמור לשמה. Rather, once it's gathered, the supervision of the grain that's now in the storage houses, that need to be lishma, but before that does not need. So how come it doesn't help in this case? But he explains, everything that needs to be done for the purpose of the mitzvah, a person who is doing the actual work has to have in thought process that it's for the purpose of this to fulfill the mitzvah. And it's not going to help that another person or supervisor is telling us that it's for that purpose. And he brings this Gemara that we mentioned before, right? Chagiga Daf Chav. De'en adam mishamer ma shebiyad chavero. Because over there the Gemara tells us you cannot mishamer, not just mishamer meant that it's something against the tumah, specifically even anything. Shamer means he goes into a different realm. Shmura, meaning that it's kept watch of, it's supervised properly, and for the purpose of the mitzvah. So Chinuch Minchas Chinuch says from the lashon over there, Mashamer is mashma. It's not going to be working. That I could tell the goy to do the mitzvah shmirah for me. Okay, let's see. Rabbi Tzina Basho is not so happy with that. Rav Temuim says, I'm surprised with these words. Rashi hatam. I don't understand. The Rashi clearly says over there, Shechavero shehirim et ama'aferet. Okay, if a friend picks up a sudar, I guess a gartel or something, mistama lo shamar aleya batara. It's probably that he was not careful to observe this sudar, this gartel or this belt with purity. Kiman sheroeh she'eno maziro shelo itamena. Because it sees that he was not warned they should not impurify it. Therefore, over there, Rashi explains that didn't help shimur, that observance or watching carefulness in that case. But in reference to matzah, leolam alecha deyoil shimur shel Yisrael lishma lemaasav shel goy. But if a Jew is observing a goy and making sure the goy is doing it for the purpose of the mitzvah, that's going to be helpful. V'agoy avid adateh d'Israel. And the goy, everything that he performs, it's because he is supervised. He's supervised to fulfill the wish of a Jew who's paying him to perform the task. Bezat Hashem, I see that this halakha we're going to need to make part 3. Bezat Hashem, we'll make it hopefully tomorrow. B'siyata d'shmaya.